John Kenley was born John Kremchek on February 20th, 1906, in Denver, Colorado. He was one of 4 children born to Anna Machuga and John Zionovsky, whose last name later mutated to Kremchek by the mistake of an Ellis Island official. This inauspicious birth to immigrant parents from Jakubian, Slovakia, was the spark that ignited one of the most diversified and illustrious careers in the American theater. Their mother, Anna, supported her children's interest in musical entertainment. Anna is shown here, accompanying Brother Joe playing his violin. Mr. John Kenley was to pursue a career that took him from Western Union messenger to the seat of power in the Broadway theater of the post-Depression era, and finally to the helm of the most successful summer theater operation in the United States. Fortunately for all of us, that theater came to be known as the Kenley Players of Warren, Ohio, and enjoyed unequaled success from its inception in 1958 and on into the late 70s. The Kremchek family earns a modest living during those first 10 years in Denver through the operation of a family tavern. Even at the age of 7, John's knack for entertaining is obvious as he sings sad songs and mimics, of all things, a piano at the local Nickelodeon. Prohibition becomes the law of the state in 1916, and the family business is forced to close, and the Kremcheks to move on to Newark, New Jersey, and yet another tavern. The family subsequently moves again as national prohibition closes the tavern, and the family travels to Erie, Pennsylvania, where John, at the age of 15, graduates in 1921 from the Erie Academy. Even before graduating, John Kenley secures his first professional job after he answers an ad for Shea's Buffalo for a piano player at the age of 13. John recalls pawning a treasured banjo in order to purchase a used suitcase in which to pack his few belongings. Mother provides the money for the trip, but John's bartering abilities would have to provide the suitcase. John recalls that he got the short end of the stick in that trade. The banjo was worth much more than the suitcase that accompanied him to that first job in Buffalo. The fact that John plays to this day solely by ear and without the hindrance of actually reading music does not prevent his assuming the job at Shea's. When faced with playing in a specific key, John quips, "Just put my hands in the right place." The conductor is bemused, but does so. He admires the pluck and moxie the young Kenley displays, and so begins a career that seems almost incredible in its breadth and scope. That job at Shea's pays a whopping $30 a week. Big money for the time, and the encouragement John needs to pursue his lifelong love of entertainment. John's subsequent stints will include work as an acrobat in the Greenwich Village Follies of 1923 at a whopping $50 a week, followed by a few years in vaudeville as a mimic and dancer. When things go awry in the staging of his vaudeville act during a brief run in the Boondocks, the theater manager storms up to Kenley screaming, "You're fired. An act like yours will kill vaudeville." Kenley fires back, "Vaudeville's dead anyway." He is out, but he is right. Vaudeville was dead, not doing any part to the quality of Kenley's act, but still dead as the proverbial doornail. John spends an entire decade working at the top of the Shubert Organization, Broadway's legendary family of producers and theater owners. He gets the job of secretary to Lee Shubert by mere coincidence. When he treks down to New York's Battery District in search of a new job, he is immediately bounced back uptown to the theater district and the Shubert offices. During his tenure with the Schuberts, John acts as confidant, booker, producer, manager, and tour coordinator for the Schuberts' extensive repertoire of Broadway and touring packages. His show business career is interrupted in 1942 when John enlists and serves in his country's merchant marine. He does so with distinction, receiving a personal letter of commendation from then-President Harry Truman and decorations for being the fastest typist in the merchant marine at an incredible 123 words a minute. Returning from the war is a renewed John Kenley, away from the business for several years and itching to get back into the swing of things. He does so as producer of his own summer theater at Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, a site he put on the map. It is a church that John makes into a theater where everyone worships the gods and goddesses of entertainment. When John leaves the Deer Lake location to open in Barnesville, Pennsylvania, the site reverts to Sunday worship once again, and John Kenley moves on to bigger and better things. While working atop the Schubert Theater in New York, John often taps and kicks his way through the famous Schubert Alley with the young stars and moguls who are to become lifelong friends. They jokingly call themselves the Kenley Players. The name sticks, and when a name is needed for the summer operation, it becomes the Kenley Players Summer Theater, complete with mascot Rosie, John's dog. John continues his penchant for hijinks and performance. It is not unusual to find him in blackface. John loves minstrels. Or to see him cavorting with budding stars in a dance routine featured in one of his productions. On October 15, 1955, the W.D. Packard Music Hall opens its doors to the people of Warren, Ohio. John Kenley has a relative teaching school in nearby Sharon, Pennsylvania. A student mentions in passing that Warren has a sparkling new theater. The word gets back to John, and the rest, as they say, is history. Kenley Players opens its season in June of 1958 and stays and stays and stays. For 20 years, Kenley and his talented Kenley Players are the backdrop for performances by the famous and up-and-coming from every aspect of show business. John Kenley is the first summer stock producer to hire television personalities to star in his packages. Foolhardy and risky, according to fellow producers of the era, but soon imitated throughout the summer circuit. The Kenley Players formula is simple and straightforward. Give them the big stars at bargain prices. Back them up with the best supporting cast of singers and dancers available. Sit back and let it work. Kenley is right, and his formula brings in capacity crowds. Local restaurants burst at the seams for before and after theater dining. The Kenley stars become regular features at local night spots, promoting the season and continuing the goodwill engendered by John Kenley and his players.